feel like we should play the Johnny Cash "I've Been Everywhere" man because it's been a while since we've actually been able to record one of these.
I think we've recorded them, but not in
person.
Room,
yeah,
right?
Not in person. So it is the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast. Good to be back together. And we do have an update. We're going to start with an update of a story that we had been following involving a world record.
We talked about the Portuguese Mastiff named Bobby.
I remember Bobby.
Bobby, a beautiful dog. And part of the controversy was, well, first of all, he was vying for the title of world's oldest dog.
And he was 31.
31 and 5 months. That's 220 canine years.
And it was going to be like 5 years older than the previous record holder.
But veterinarians had suspicion about the official records, and Guinness has said, nope.
Oh,
Bobby does not get.
Poor Bobby.
Yeah. The record could now potentially return to the previous holder, Bluey, an Australian cattle dog from Rochester, New York. From Rochester, Australia.
Yeah. Is that what the show is based on? Because isn't the show Bluey is Australian?
And this was a dog back from the 30s, 1939, lived 29 years and 5 months.
Okay.
The organization said that the microchip, which had claimed to prove Bobby's age, was not sufficient, to give him the title.
Poor Bobby.
Yeah. Rafael de Alhanto, a Portuguese livestock guardian dog named after the southern region which it originates. Bobby lived on a farm, and apparently his owner only gave him human food.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
Just hand him a ham sandwich and stuff.
That's how Bobby lives so long.
They
Bobby,
question
would you
why.
like some of the Iberico?
They question why photographs of Bobby in 1999 showed him with white paws when the dog that died had brown paws.
It's just age.
He was younger.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're getting gray hair.
Skeptics pointed out that although the age had been registered on the National Pet Database, this was based on the owner's self-certification, and that the microchipping only began in 2008. So there's just all kinds of things.
There's a lot of goof going on.
Leonel Costa has not commented on the dog's title being removed, but he was very upset that it was even being questioned.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, I swear to God, Bobby is 31 years old.
Yes. That's right. He comes home and I make him a nice, I roast up some asparagus and I give it to him, and then we share pizza together and have popcorn.
Bobby likes cipollini onion from time to time. A good French onion soup.
Yes. He loves my wife's meatloaf.
Some minestrone, as it were.
So, it
back to Bluey.
Goes back to Bluey, and Bobby is...
This is going to be second place.
He is an old, dead dog. That's all he is.
Sorry about that, Bobby. Speaking of old things, did you know that out in San Francisco, you could visit the Good Vibrations Antique Vibrator Museum?
Wow. So I guess we've had these long enough that they are antiques now.
They said starting in the Victorian era, medically induced orgasms in women were practiced as a legitimate cure for what then was called female hysteria. Yeah, just grab one of these things. Characterized by anxiety, sexual desire, insomnia, fluid retention, heaviness in the abdomen, muscle spasm, irritability, and loss of appetite. So here, take one of these and don't call me in the morning.
So it seems like ladies back in the Victorian era just weren't getting a lot of action.
Apparently not.
They would go, like anybody, would go bananas
right.
after a while.
They said in the parade of
irritable.
In the parade of modern conveniences, first came the electric sewing machine in 1899, followed by the fan, the tea kettle, the toaster, and in 1902, the vibrator. Da, 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 da.
Every time there is an advance in technology, it immediately goes to porn.
It goes to sex, yes. They say many came packaged in velvet-lined cases that would not look out of place in any lady's boudoir.
Do you remember getting the Spencer's catalog?
Yes.
Yeah, and there was always a lady with a vibrator.
There was.
But she was massaging her neck.
Yeah.
It was like this clearly penis-shaped thing, and she would just be like, oh, that feels so good on my neck.
Not. Yeah. Do you ever remember going into Spencer's for the first time and realizing what it was actually for?
Right.
And then they had the greeting cards, and you're like, oh, my God, I like me some Spencer's. They say by the late 1920s, magazines no longer accept advertisements for vibrators for fear of violating anti-obscenity laws. They say for the most part, vibrator design remained unvaried. although some models added an assortment of removable tips to provide varied sensations. But they say by the 50s, they're often housed in hard plastic or vinyl carrying cases like portable record players of the era. As in the case of the fictional Rejuvenator, these Eisenhower-era vibrators were advertised as reduction aids, although it's unlikely that many women objected when they failed to lose weight. So you can go through all of this at the Good Vibration. How do you bring that up, by the way? That's not, how many dates in before you take your date to the Good Vibrations Antique Vibrator Museum in San Francisco?
I'm just looking.
They have.
I don't know what how much.
Yeah, they display the models from lost years. The magnetic massage, for example, was touted as a means to achieve a healthy complexion, luscious hair, and taut neck and chin. The package features several drawings of young women using the device in various fashions, all safely north of her collarbone. Much like you were talking about how, look at here at Spencer's, we have personal massagers that happen to look like Wangs.
I'm just trying to look. I'm looking at the museum's website, open daily from 12:30 to 6:30. For more information about the Antique Vibrator Museum or to book a personalized tour.
I don't know if you go that far, do you?
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to see, how much do tickets cost? How
do I get my reservation?
Are they doing a special exhibition right now?
Right, exactly, of how to use it or where it goes.
Yeah. I will say, some of them that are coming out, I mean, they're very complex.
Oh my God.
There's a lot. You have a big owner's manual that goes on. I don't know where they go anymore.
Women have just, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to all that. And now, though, they've kind of moved towards all the different names of particular animals. It's like rabbit and butterfly and everything else. It's like they're you know what? Here's the thing: they're even elegant and better when it comes to that stuff.
Well, I love
we're so heathen. Men are just heathens. Like we'll just be like watch anything and women are like, I have a rabbit I'm using, or tonight I will use the butterfly.
Well, and I think it's very telling that there is this huge industry of adult toys for women, very small amount of toys for men, because we're just like, I don't know, and I got my right hand right here.
Right, exactly. So, I got my own. God gave me a couple of toys.
This is going to be over in just a couple of minutes.
Right, exactly. Why do I need to go through?
I don't have to get anything out of a box.
I don't have to rev the engine
batteries.
much. I'm just 0 to 60 and ready to pulsate.
Got to wash it off afterwards.
There's a lot of work.
I'm doing fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't know. I just don't know what date number you finally go. Let's go to the Good Vibrations Antique Vibrator Museum in San Francisco. I think probably has to be date 5 at least.
Well, a popular date though is antiquing.
Yes.
You go out and you look
a nice little weekend.
Drive up into Menard County and go look at some of the antique shops. We take you into Texas, where a 60-year-old kilt-wearing man was arrested after he was caught on surveillance allegedly grabbing several items off the shelves and, quote, placing, quote, those items, quote, in his rectum, unquote, before returning them to the shelves. So he wasn't stealing them.
So he was going full Scottish.
Yeah.
Where he's not wearing anything under the kilt.
Yeah.
He sees something, he grabs it, and then it goes straight up the butt.
And then back on the shelf.
You can't do that. I think ownership is 4/10 of the anus is ownership.
Right.
If 4/10 of your anus surrounded that object, then that object is now yours.
Right. You've heard of the Pottery Barn rule. You break it, you bought it, and this is like you penetrate it. It's
you wreck them, you get them.
Mitchell C. Vest. That doesn't sound like a Scottish name to me. So I don't even think the kilt was authentic.
Exactly. He's a terrible person all around.
Was taken into custody. Harris County Constable.
Please tell me it's Harry Butts.
Yeah, said they received calls from, quote, multiple concerned citizens.
Of course. What are you doing?
He was observed selecting several items from vendors at an antique mall and placing selected items in his rectum. He was then observed removing them and placing them back on the shelves.
How far did he go? Was it a quick in and out, or did he shove him for a while, take 2 steps, and then put him back? Either way, it's gross.
The incidents allegedly occurred at 2 different shops, the Antique Gallery of Houston and the Curiosity Shop.
Well, that one I understand. It's in the name. He's going to be curious.
The owner told deputies she witnessed this guy pick up a makeup brush.
Oh.
And hardware piece, quote, shove both items up his anus, then return items to the shelf. She said the value of damage was $130.
And the emotional scarring of having to see a man grab a makeup brush and shove it there.
The owner reported to deputies that she'd reviewed security footage. Oh, he had to go back and watch it.
Oh, no, I had to see it again. Because, wait, I will say this. Wouldn't you have to? Because it'd be hard to believe in real time.
That's true.
That someone actually...
You can't process what's going on.
Exactly. You'd be like, what? Did that happen? Let's go back and look at the film.
So he goes over to the curiosity shop, and apparently they looked at security footage, and they saw him doing the same thing with a bottle opener and tent can, noting that her damages were $74.
So it's $204 worth of butt stuff.
Both complainants advised they threw away the items that were used.
First of all, it's an antique thrift shop anyway, so they're already on the precipice of getting thrown away. And then when the rectum is involved, that's when it just goes in the trash.
The first place, she said that she had seen the guy in the establishment with employees telling her that he'd previously spent, quote, hours shopping around the... You got to everything in the store.
Everything. You have to burn the store down.
I mean, you recognize
just
the guy having been spending hours in your store. That means everything in that store at some point has been in his butt.
Yeah. God, that's a lot of effort by him as well.
And then at the end of this article it says, "Do you have a tip? Please send us an email."
If you have a tip, go to the back end of our email and please insert it there in this form. Staying on this, well, not the butt topic, but
sure.
But on the topic of the Sex and Poo podcast, I have so many questions about how this story even began. I take you over to Spain, where a priest and his partner have been arrested in the town of Don Benito in the Spanish province of Extremadura as part of an investigation into the illegal sale of Viagra and other powerful aphrodisiacs. A priest, okay? The parish priest, well known to the parish of San Sebastian, has been released on charges of trafficking harmful substances. He'll appear in court on the 1st and 15th of each month. The arrests were carried out this past Monday at the priest's home, which he shares with his partner. But who goes to a priest for Viagra and other sexual aphrodisiacs?
Well, yeah, at some point that conversation, I'm wondering where it started.
How did it begin? Right.
Did somebody go, Father, I need some counsel. Things just aren't working in the bedroom.
But is that where you start?
Boy, do I have the thing for you. Or did he sneak up on somebody, while he's giving communion or something and elbow him in the ribs and say, by the way...
I heard through the grapevine from the after church committee that Patrice is not being satisfied as much. I got a little something for you. That's the thing that boggles my mind in this whole story is
how did it start?
How did it begin? Like how did it get to the point where he's running a Viagra ring out of the priest's home? I mean, I guess part of it is if you're the person who is purchasing it, and part of it, the last place you expect for it to have an illegal Viagra and a sexual aphrodisiac ring is a priest's home.
Right.
So there is that part
Good
of
cover.
it. Because you look very pious, I guess, then going in and out.
Yes.
As it were. Pardon the pun.
Yes.
But that's the thing that when I read this story, I go, how did that become a thing? When did it begin? Who was the first client, and then how did it snowball from there?
Correct. And it's intriguing to me. Did he just have a couple, and he said, I don't know what the hell to do with these things, and somebody said, I'll buy them off you, and he thought, holy cow, I'm making more money doing this than I am priesting.
Passing the collection plate. Screw that. I'm going to start passing the blue pill plate. Is this just his? Does he just deal in illicit things when he's not praying to God? Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it just seemed weird to me that the sexual problems that wouldn't be needed for Viagra, or even without the problems, just somebody, I need a little extra juice tonight, Padre. Here you go. Now it'd be $15.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't get his two jobs confused. He's up there doing the sermon. Now a reading from the book of Bonerotomy.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. And just like the penis on Viagra, he rose on the third day and ascended into heaven. And
when I say the letters from Peter, I mean Peter.
Yes, exactly. She'll be yelling out Jesus right here on the altar. So yeah, that one just kind of to me like,
and the nuns like it too.
Yeah, just right. If it was Nugenics, I can understand.
Sure,
it's Padre Big Hurt and his Deacon Flutie sharing the gospel of Nugenics.
Our Father, I need some man boosting.
Yeah, man boosting testament. Speaking of man boosting, raw meat apparently can add some extra protein to your diet, according to one gentleman, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that guy?
Yep.
Yeah, what's his name?
Right.
Yeah, that guy eating raw meat.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leaving this all in.
Thank you.
It stays in or we're not posting it.
There
Like
we go.
like the Conan bidet thing. Yes.
For the last 13 days, John, who's chosen not to share his last name, has been eating raw chicken.
He should be dead.
He slathers.
You can't be alive 13 days into raw chicken eating.
Probably not. He's been filming it and sharing it with his 300,000 Instagram followers.
Why does he have that many Instagram followers? Literally 4 people listen to this podcast.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, 300,000 is a lot of people. But
It's not a lot of people.
It's not a lot of people.
With Instagram, no. But still.
And it's certainly not eat raw chicken worthy.
No, that's 300 million before you raw chicken it.
So he takes these raw chicken breasts and slathers them in ranch dressing, and then puts raw eggs in a martini glass and chugs them down. He says he intends.
What does he have against chickens?
He says he intends to keep doing this until, quote, I get a tummy ache.
How has he not had one yet?
Here are some of the things that can happen from eating raw chicken.
So, by the way, why add the eggs? Isn't it already an injustice to the chicken that gave its life to be delicious, and now you're going to just drink the eggs as well? That seems overkill to me.
2 years ago, he posted a series on YouTube called Eating Raw Meat at Whole Foods Every Day Until I Die from Bacteria, until he got bored after 200 days
Of eating raw meat?
of eating raw meat.
Okay.
He says he's absolutely fine. And so, yes, in theory, you can.
Doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should. It's not ideal.
I get it. I eat sushi, and a lot of that's
Exactly.
raw fish.
Right.
But guess what? You eat too much of it, mercury poisoning.
Well,
You're not meant to consume that much of it.
Yeah,
You're
and-
not a killer whale. You're not a coyote. You're not a wild fox.
yeah, and when look, you get a steak rare, and it's still it's not fully cooked, and so there are things.
Right. There's steak carpaccio and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. There's beef tartare.
Right.
But that's in small amounts, not 13 straight days.
And it's in control. I mean, they're controlling it, and the bacteria and all the other things that could cause you problems
Correct.
just aren't there. Here are some of the side effects from eating raw chicken: bloody diarrhea, fever, vomiting, stomach cramps, numbness, parasites.
At what part of those do you finally tap out?
Yeah.
When the first one of those pops up, when do you tap out on your raw chicken eating for your 300,000 Instagram followers?
I just noticed in this article over at Vice.com, bloody diarrhea is underlined, so it's a hyperlink if I need to learn more about
Bloody
exactly,
diarrhea. Okay, yeah, because I don't know exactly. It's not descriptive enough.
Yeah.
I need to know more.
What is this? Click. Those are just a few reasons why eating raw chicken is strongly advised against, but John says a small price to pay. His raw meat experiment videos are going viral, reaching up to 8 million views. Again, still not enough.
Not a lot.
Not enough for the stunt.
But enough to actually be a sponsor of this particular iteration of the podcast.
Yeah, right.
If we get a third of his listeners, can we hyperlink to him and then his people can come over and listen to us make fun of him?
So if you go over to Vice.com, there's a lengthy article and an interview where the reporter is asking some very good, very valid questions.
Of why
Yeah,
and how are you still alive, sir?
if you want to know more about that.
It's more about John. And we end today's Too Good for Radio podcast with, we had a couple of podcasts ago, the list of license plates that were banned in Illinois last year, but we only had a very small portion. And we wish we could have brought you the audio of Alexi Janulius reading some of them because it was quite hilarious. Well, there is a news channel out in Buffalo that wanted every one of the 3,000 denied license plates from New York. Now, am I going to read all 3,000? No, because this podcast usually only goes a half hour.
Well, and we know that Secretary of State Janulius was just picking the friendlier of the ones, because you know that people are.
Yes, like for example, in New York, one of the denied ones was Rippin' Lips.
Rippin' Lips.
RIPNLIPNS. Rippin' Lips or Rips and Lips, whatever you want to say.
Right.
That was not one. Also,
See, that one interests me because I could see that and look at it and go, I think that's dirty,
but I don't know.
I can't
but I don't know why it's dirty.
I can't explain why it might be dirty.
There's one. She's wet. SHZWET.
Classy.
Yeah, very classy one. Here's one that kind of threw me off a little bit. That baby arm is not allowed. I mean, I get the context, but it's one of those things of, I don't know if I get up to a stoplight and I see baby arm as a license plate and I go, well, that's dirty.
And if your kid sees it and says, why does that license plate say baby arm? You can make something up quick enough and not have to.
The one that also, another one, sheet. SHEEEET. I want that to be okay.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
I want that one to be okay. Side chicks, not allowed.
No kidding.
Here's one that definitely should have been allowed. Dirty skag. DRTY skag. Tapeworm, also.
Tapeworm?
Yeah, you can't. Itch off is another one. Duck you was not that. One that was horny for you, HRNY for you, obvious reasons. I don't know why this one was denied, but Schlabwagon.
Again, yeah, that's one of those words.
SHLABWGN. Schlabwagon.
Sounds dirty. I think it's dirty. I couldn't tell you why it's dirty.
Poo with a 4 at the end of it. Here's the ones that definitely should not be, and for good reason. Only gaps is probably one you don't want that. Butt sex.
Butt sex.
But with a 3 as an E.
Oh, okay.
Trying to describe it the best they can. Also, sex to me, but the S is a 5.
Okay.
That one was no good. Here's one that I think should be available. What the fuck? WATDAFAQ. I think that one's...
They should let that one slide.
Here's one. Forward nudes. FWDNUDZ. That's one. This one is, let's see, why is it? Here's one I think that should be available, but it was not. Janky AF. Why?
That's fine.
If you're driving a crap car, why can't janky AF be yours?
Right.
Be your license plate. Here's one. Let's see if you can figure out why this would be offensive. I think it's pretty obvious, and obviously so the state of New York, but here's the conglomeration of letters. All right? GT, OFF, MDK.
Which, by the way, is a very funny expression.
Yes.
It really, that always cracks me up. I always forget about it. But when I hear somebody say, get off my dick, that's a very funny way to tell people to stop harassing you.
Yes. Now, I read this one incorrectly right now when I was just looking at it because I didn't want to print off all 3,000. I just print off 3 pages of them. At first, I thought this may be one for bowlers. But now, after second glance, I know exactly why they banned it. It's TNYPNS. I thought it was saying tiny pins. And then once I read it a second time, I realized that's not tiny pins.
Man, I mean, if that's what's going on and you've got that, I think they should let you have that one. It's like,
that
just
one.
So you know.
Yeah, just so you know.
Not a lot going on down there.
Yeah, exactly. Drunk AF is one that they weren't doing that. Here's one. Maybe you can figure this out. CHUNCHE. 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 I hope I'm not really, really offending people.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe that's an Urban Dictionary thing, but it was banned by the state of New York.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's a slur for an authority figure or someone acting as an authority figure.
Okay, I get it then. Maybe the cops don't like that. I guess I don't get that one. Couple more real quick.
That's according to my quick search on Urban Dictionary.
Now, I don't understand why you would ban this one because I think it's universally something we all can agree on. There was one where the A in cancer was a 4 and it said cancer SX. Okay. Cancer sucks.
Right.
Why is it? Is it just because sucks is on there and anything with an SX
maybe
at the end can't be on there?
Or somebody thought it was cancer sex. Want to have some cancer sex?
Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah.
The only person having cancer sex is the same guy walking around that antique mall. That's a guy who's into cancer sex, weirdo.
I don't think I do.
And the final one here that I think should be allowed with the number 4, they use 4 instead of A lot because it looks similar, but fart box.
Fart box.
Who doesn't want to pull up behind good old fart box? Seriously.
Yeah.
So that's just some of the ones you can find. I think it's WKEZ out of Buffalo. Just look up banned New York license plates, and you can get the entire list of 3,000. But yeah, tiny pins.
Well, what we should do then is take that list and see how many of them we can get past Alexi Janulius.
Let's see if we can get tiny pins.
Yeah, tiny pins. What?
What? It's just tiny pins.
I'm a tiny pin. Yeah, I'm a tiny pins guy. I go bowling with my big balls.
Yeah, my big
And I
balls.
throw them at my tiny pins.
Exactly. I like huge alleys, big balls, and tiny pins.
Let's go have some cancer sex.
And GTOFFMDK. Janulius with
Get
my
off
tiny
my
pins.
dick.
Get off my
I
dick.
just want a license plate.
I just want my
Janulius.
tiny pins, Janulius.
Get off my
But
dick.
get off my dick. Oh, good. And you'll have that problem with Nugenics. She'll like it too.
There you go.
Always fun, always a pleasure. New episodes every Friday. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for listening.